Captain, we have him, sir. We're bringing him up.
Hello everyone. Well, a bit of an unfortunate start to today. You see, Marina and I brought the Randomiser to the planet Altor. I thought she might like to see a brand new world, but it turns out that, unfortunately, selecting Jerry Anderson episodes at random is actually illegal in Demeter City. Honest. Anyway, long story short, I've been arrested.
Sorry about this.
Yeah, please don't think this is personal or nothing.
Oh, it's alright guys, really. I know you're just doing your jobs.
How's your new partner doing?
What, Marina? I think she's taken the Randomiser back to Earth for me, actually. She didn't seem too impressed with Demeter City. I do hope I won't have to find another assistant.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They gotta peel the girls off you like a new Hawaiian banana.
Oh, very funny. Anyway, it's alright. I have a foolproof way to get out of this. If I can reach it. Ha! Yes, with the help of my trusty sonic screwdriver, I can phase shift myself out of Orin and Romek's visual and audio perception. Sorry chaps, must dash.
What the hell?
Where'd he go?
Captain. Sir, we sort of had a problem.
And while these two decide how they're going to explain all this, I've got an episode to watch. Marina did thrust a printout at me just before we split up, so let's see. I don't even know what show that's from, actually. Oh, yes, I do. I think. It's Deep 7, which I believe is another episode of Supercar. Well, the fact that this episode came up and I didn't immediately recognise the title is cause for concern. I should explain that I put all these episode titles into the randomizer. I don't necessarily specify what series they're from unless it's an episode title that appears in more than one series, like, say, Traitor. There's a Traitor in Captain Scarlet and a Traitor in Lavender Castle, so I mark one Traitor CS and one Traitor LC. Similarly, Talk Down is another episode where we have one in Joe 90 and one in The Protectors. So I don't mark these episodes, and I think this is the one where they take Supercar for sea trials and various things go wrong. It was available on video in the pre-DVD age, so it was one of the more readily available episodes. I can't remember anything about this, though. Well, already we've got a plus side. Jimmy has been sidelined, evidently. Unfortunately, Mitch has as well, which is... as I said last time, I tend to lean more towards liking him than not. I love this shot of Supercar on the shoreline. You can just see the water lapping at the front of the image, the sand here. Here we have Bill Gibson making a return appearance. Bill was an odd character in Supercar because he was Jimmy's older brother. He appeared in the first episode as a pilot. They crash their plane in the sea and Supercar rescues them. After that, Bill just kind of appeared as and when they needed another main character. He sometimes again appeared as a pilot, but here he's a diving expert. He was a truck driver. He was basically jack of all trades, master of a couple. And again, it's one of those moments in Jerry Anderson history that you wonder about, but you've never actually witnessed. What was the process of the Supercar team adopting Jimmy after that first episode? Because Bill just seemed very keen to drop him off and then run. I think he's only in maybe half a dozen episodes of the show in the end. And he doesn't seem overly responsible to his younger brother. I'm assuming their parents are dead because that's usually the way these things go. I also like something in the early days of Supercar, not so much a continuity thing, just an occasional running thread of them improving or making upgrades to Supercar, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It sometimes provides story material. I can't remember in this case whether it does or not, or if it's just a MacGuffin to get them into a situation. We will see. And here we have Supercar taking off for real. There's no back projection on this, and that must have been hard to coordinate with the movement of the model with the puppeteer, because Mike's strings are hanging out the top of the Supercar canopy. You don't want to sort of move the model and have Mike lean to one side and have his head ripped off. That wouldn't be a good start.
What we really want to know is...
And again, one of the many examples of the versatility of David Graham as a voice artist, where we have him holding entire conversations with himself throughout much of this episode. And you never, as a kid, I don't think you never ever really notice things like that. I remember it took me a long time to work out that throughout all of the Super Mario Nation shows I was hearing the same voices over and over again. I love that. Back at the console, Mitch is constantly leaning over Popkiss's shoulder. And again, what I said last time about the look of the character. Something in the eyes, he looks both interested and slightly... not sceptical as such, but sort of... like he doesn't really care what everyone's doing. He just wants to make a nuisance of himself. And this whole episode so far is really showing the redundancy of Jimmy as a character. He is contributing nothing. He's just sitting there asking questions, which he was basically his role on the show, but he was usually out there with Supercar on its adventures. Having him just sat back at base, chipping in and not really contributing anything, he's not really much use here.
That's wonderful. How does it feel down there, Mike?
Fine, Professor.
Except the top of the canopy's open and my head is getting quite wet now.
Professor!
What is it, Mike?
Water!
Water?
Water?
Dr. Hull sprung a leak somewhere.
Oh no! So going back to what I said about not being able to remember this episode, evidently this is quite a significant one in terms of underwater stories, and I could be wrong, this is episode 15 of Supercar, but I don't think we've had much in the way of proper underwater settings before. Here we have clearly real fish in front of Supercar, so that's obviously a thin fish tank. And again, it's nice to see them developing their technique here and exploring what they can do. As with Talisman of Sargon, and between this and Talisman of Sargon, that's what, 12 episodes, you can definitely see there's been a drastic improvement in not only the quality of the effects, but what they're prepared to try to do.
15,000! Fire port!
And okay, it's not spectacular compared to the later stuff, but it holds up much better than I was expecting it to, much better than I remembered. Mike's strings hanging out the top of the Supercar canopy kind of spoil the effect with the fish hanging around. Obviously there was nothing they could have done about that because they had to have the canopy roof open. Ooh, Supercar's become snagged on a mine. This was something quite prevalent in television and films of the 60s and 70s. If you had a problem underwater, mines were always a good problem to come up against.
Enough. Get a report from Mike, will you?
And again, here we have Bill Gibson, pilot, truck driver, and now expert on mines. What job was he doing before he started on this show?
It's a pity I wasn't prepared enough to think of a telephone. But in any case,
Oh, Bill, you've let us down. You brought a diving suit. You're an expert on mines. You know how to fly a plane. You know how to drive a truck, but you didn't think of a telephone, you fool.
Tell Bill to get a move on. My feet are getting wet. It keeps coming in.
This is also kind of a precursor to Thunderbirds in a way, I suppose. We have a rescue situation in progress now.
Don't worry, Professor, I won't. But in any case, the more water there
And
is
it's
inside,
strange that it's the star of the show who's the one who needs rescuing, who's got himself tied up to a mine and is in danger of drowning before that even goes off.
I sure wish we could get Mike out. We can always
Yeah, that'd
find
be
another
great if he
Supercar.
didn't die. Shut up, Jimmy, you're not
I don't
contributing
believe Bill
anything.
knows much about mine.
Oh, don't give us a close-up of your face, please. I can see right up your nose.
Count
Count your freckles, that's very disturbing.
Dr. Beaker, you don't suppose a fish could set this thing off, do you?
Oh, I remember this now. I remember this. The fish.
Because I can see something coming my way right now.
Oh my goodness, I forgot about this fish. This fish, if I remember, if this looks... Yes, it does! Oh my god, this is a gloriously freaky fish. He has about a bajillion teeth and a lamp on the end of his head.
Let alone a diving suit. You gotta stop him, Doc.
To be honest, he's actually quite effective. He could have turned up again in Stingray and he would have looked rather scary.
Mike, what does this fish look like?
Nothing you ever saw.
Do I recognize the fish, Mike? I might recognize the fish. I might know him personally.
Does that a few more times. That's the idea.
Just do as I say.
It may be that this is looking slightly scarier than it is because it's in black and white and the
Roger.
image is fairly murky
Hey, Doc, I'm getting
underwater with this fish cruising around. But there's some close-ups on his face. He looks very, very scary. I imagine kids at the time would have been quite unsettled by this.
Mike.
And there's that electronic sound effect again, which I think we heard in Torchy, our very first Randomiser episode, but it's probably best known for being the sound of the Mistron Electron rifle in Spectrum Strikes Back, as well as various other places. Well, the fish is now gone.
How long since he left you?
I miss the fish. I do have a feeling, though, that he came back in a later episode. Possibly not the same fish, but certainly the same prop. Oh my god, Bill looks like such a dingbat in that diving suit. I think it's the fact that you're seeing his face slightly magnified through the front visor, and his face is like 80% nose, much like Jimmy. He just looks like a big fried egg.
In which case, it's goodbye to both of us.
Nothing we can do about that. We'll have to take a chance.
Yep, I'm game to die if you are.
You're hitting the both of them when you float up.
If it's humanly possible, Mike will do it.
He might be in several pieces by the time he gets it done, but you know, acceptable losses.
It's a mine.
Right, let's try her.
It's the mine that we knew was already there. Damn that pesky mine. Fooling us by being exactly what we thought it was. Oh, this is fantastic. So Beaker is now a crack shot. Trying to take down this mine. And there we go. Only took him 4 goes. And what I love about gunshots in Supercar as well is that they didn't have props that would fire on cue, so they had to actually draw the flash of the shot on the end of the gun barrel, which is quite sweet. And now this finale, we have 2 threats at once. The mine, which we've just disposed of, but now we have a fire in the Supercar cabin. This is so much a precursor to the finales of Thunderbirds, where it would just build and build to a unbelievably tense climax.
That's it, fire one!
And again, Graydon Gould is selling it beautifully with his performance. I think he's a really underrated voice actor in this.
California, here I come.
But it's strange, though, that we're having these 2 threats resolved one by one. In Thunderbirds, you would have, like, 2 threats would be on the go at the same time. Say, terror in New York City. Gordon's got to find Ned, Cook and Joe, who are running out of oxygen, but at the same time, that building, the tower's about to fall on top of them. You have the 2 things at once just building to this climax, whereas here, we've done the one, now we've done the other. But it's okay, because Mike is safe and free and well and coming into land.
How long will it take to fix, Doc?
Oh, I'm pretty sure we can have it fixed and ready to go by next week at the latest.
A week from today.
Oh God, he actually said it. I wasn't expecting that. I got Riff back on that. That's very meta. That's far more meta than I was expecting the show to be. Well, that was Deep 7, and for an episode that I had completely forgotten about, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I think it was a real showcase for what AP Films were trying to do with underwater sequences.
With beauty and grace, as swift as can be, watch it flying.
And it's great to see that even before Stingray, they were trying to develop that kind of filming, and they did very well here. Also, strong roles for Mike and Beaker and Bill Gibson, the man of mystery who's great at everything. And of course, our friend, the amazing Fish. Oh, I hope we can find his episode again. I want to see the fish again. But yes, a very entertaining episode and an interesting model for what was to come later on. Toodaloo.